Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today I am finally getting around to a project I've been waiting on for a long time, and that is planting out successions of Gladiolus bulbs. Plus we're going to harvest some beautiful cut flowers. Okay, so I have been wanting tons and tons of Gladiolus bulbs, and I've been wanting to plant them in succession. Succession means you plant one group, one batch of bulbs every 2 to 3 weeks apart, depending on how far apart you want them blooming. I could plant all of my Gladiolus bulbs at once, but most likely most of them would be ready all at the same time. And that doesn't really work for me as a smaller backyard gardener. So the idea is that we'll plant, a batch of them today, and then in a couple of weeks I'll plant another batch, and then a couple of weeks after that I'll plant an additional batch, and that will spread out blooms throughout the entire summer. Now I purchased quite a few blooms from different places: Lowe's, Home Depot, Costco, homegrown, several different places. I even got one from like Market Street, some really cool ones from Market Street. And I love Gladiolus. I have some of them tucked into my different places of my landscape. I don't love them in different places of my landscape. So what I decided this year is that I was going to grow them in grow bags. And these grow bags right here are the grow bags that were my massive tulip fail. And they did not do well. The tulips were a complete disaster. But that's okay. We're going to move forward, and we're going to go ahead and start getting these planted up for Gladiolus bulbs. So let's get started on that. Actually, I think we might do a little harvesting first, and then we'll get going on the Gladiolus. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of Dara that needs to be harvested. Several of them are old seed heads, so I'm going to start by just removing all the old seed heads at this point, just so it's easier to see the good stuff that's left over. And I don't let my seed heads just go crazy and die on here, because I would have thousands and thousands and thousands of Dara, and that's not really something that I want everywhere. These reseed themselves each year. I absolutely love them. They're so fun, they're so whimsical, and they're really, really enjoyable to have both in the garden but also in arrangements, which I really enjoy too. I've learned to recognize what the seedlings look like over the years, so it's easy for me to tell, where I can pull them up, where I don't want them, which works really good. So you can definitely have these if you will take the time to really focus on them and don't allow them to get crazy out of control, or plant them in an area where you're totally fine with them getting crazy and out of control. Okay, I'm going to concentrate towards the front over here. Let me bring y'all in a little closer. And these are what's known as chocolate Dara. They're really fun, light, airy bloom. Really enjoy growing them. Pollinators are obsessed with them. They come in ranges of all the way to dark brown chocolate, to burgundies, to mauvey pinks, to pale pinks, all the way to kind of white tones. Just super fun. They look good with lots of different varieties of flowers. They also look great just in mass, especially because they're quirky. Their stems are usually quirky, which is fun. This particular batch I'm cutting on right now blew over in a storm, so its stems are a little more wonky than usual. But these will bloom for quite a while if you take the time to cut them. So I was concentrating towards that front patch, but I am going to take a few of these taller ones right here in the front, so that it'll be easier to access the ones in the back in the next week or so. These do eventually just kind of die out, and then I will basically pull them all because these are not perennials, they just reseed themselves. So I'll pull all the ones that I don't want, and then that will make way for a whole bunch of zinnia seedlings that should fill in pretty quickly afterwards in this particular area. Yeah, these are really fun. Very pretty. Love the colors. They're just very light and airy. These are more of a, what I would call a filler flower. But the variety of color is just amazing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some of these Elode lilies. And this is their second year with me. And I did allow them to go ahead and bloom on the bottom, but I can always just cut off some of the older blooms. Actually, I will go ahead and remove a few of the older blooms at the bottom. And then we still have lots of blooms at the top. This is about the stage you really actually want to harvest them in like that. Allow them to open up inside. I planted a lot more lilies in my garden. I still have more to plant. But I've really enjoyed lilies, and I look forward to having more of these over the years. All right, I am going to harvest a whole Bells of Ireland plant down here. These are not cut and come again. So I'm basically cutting out the whole plant. Okay, so you got to be a little bit careful with Bells of Ireland as it has thorns. So you want to keep an eye out for that. Had a hard time finding seeds last year. Ended up finding them at Southern Seeds, maybe? Either Southern Seeds or Swallowtail Seeds, one of those. Now, the blooms you want are actually underneath all these little leaves, and so you can just pull off the leaves. It leaves all the blooms underneath. But like I said, there are thorns, so you need to be careful regarding that. A lot of spiders today. The Bells of Ireland are a fun one. I started them during the summer and I planted them out in the fall, and unfortunately I forgot to cover them during an extreme freeze, so I lost most of them. And I will be much more diligent about that this next year. And these have been leaning for a while, which is why I wanted to go ahead and cut them, because they should be straight up, but they're all bent over. These are fun. These are very fun flowers. Okay, so here are my grow bags. Now, I did have tulips in here, tulip bulbs in here. I suspect that the tulip bulbs are, well, there's some in here. So I think what I might do is dump these containers out in here real quick, just so I can get some of the tulip bulbs removed, because I'm sure most of them are rotting, and I don't want them just rotting in the soil with the gladiolus bulbs. And I know a lot of you are like, you should save the tulips, guys. I'm not growing tulips again. I'm good. I'm good for, for quite a while. don't want to grow tulips for a while. So you were so disappointing. Kristen is convinced that I didn't water them enough, and that's why. That's why I didn't have very good luck with the tulips. Regardless, I'm over it, so we're moving on. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken out a significant portion of the soil to the side here. And I'm smoothing these out. And in a little while, I'm going to show you a trick with retaining water in your grow bags, because that's what a lot of questions I've had people asking about. So I'm going to show you a trick that someone else told me to do, one of the subscribers. I apologize, can't remember who it is at this point. But we've got that going, just like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a set of these Gladiolus bulbs, and they're typically planted 4 to 6 inches below the surface. 4 to 6 inches below the surface. So this is our top and these are our bottoms. Truthfully, even if you get them upside down, they will reroute themselves. Seen a lot of tulip people saying they just toss their tulips in now because they will figure it out, which I think is great. Sorry, I saw something moving. I thought it was a snake. So we're going to go ahead and work all of these in just like that. And we put our plant tone in there, and now we're going to backfill over the top. And I do like these to be a little bit deeper. So I like towards the 6-inch range. We're going to go just over the top, just like that. Firm the soil up a little bit, and then we're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue planting, and while I'm planting, I'm going to talk to you about the different varieties, show pictures, and give the different stats on the different varieties. Okay, the Verax variety is about 30 to 40 inches tall, loves full sun. It is hardy in zones 8 through 11, but is suitable in zones 3 to 11, and it's known for white outer petals, enchanting lilac purple centers, and kind of a graceful, kind of antique look to it. Okay, this dazzling tangerine mix is very tall at about 56 to 60 inches tall, which is very cool. And it's really kind of a mix of shades of tangerines and lemons and creamy peaches, and just really kind of has like a softer approach to citrus tones. Now these plum tart I've already planted in a different area, and these are hardy in zones 8 through 10, and they have like a dramatic magenta purple flower, sword-like foliage, bloom in the summer, and they're approximately 36 to 44 inches tall. Now this next mix, I believe was from Home Depot or Lowe's. They're about 50 to 60 inches tall, and this is a really nice mix. It ended up being 50 bulbs for $11.47, and it's a mix of kind of purples and reds and bicolors and creamy peaches and whites and yellows and soft blush. All right. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and tuck my labels down in here. Tangerine, Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to plug into my existing drip lines right here in the garden and run drip to these containers. Now I'm going to skip the first 3 containers for now and only do the ones that currently have bulbs in, and then in a couple of weeks when I plant another round, we'll go ahead and do those containers. But let me show you how easy it is to splice into your drip lines. Okay, I'm going to move over to this corner instead. I think it'll be easier to show y'all. Okay, so I already have a drip line coming off right here that was, it ran to an additional container. So I'm actually going to cut off the 6-inch strip, and this is just solid drip line right here. And this is plugged into my existing drip line, so I'm just going to add a straight line barb right here, and that will allow me to attach more line to this. Okay, so I've got my line coming off over here, so I'm going to attach more additional line to it because we want it to be long enough for all of them. Okay, and we're going to start here with this first container right here, and I'm going to let my line drip a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut between the two lines, and I'm going to insert an in-line emitter. So basically it goes into one side and it goes on the other side where you made the line, and then it just drips right out of that little sphere. So now all I do is I take a stake just like that, and I hold it in place in the center of the pot. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert my inline emitter to both sides. Then I'm going to use a stake to hold it in place. Go to the next one. Now I do have some extra line cut for when the time comes to add on additional emitters for the other containers, but I do need to seal up the end of the line with what's called a goof plug, which just seals the end just like that. And then I'm just going to roll this up and stake it into this basket that's not being used over here. Now, ordinarily, I wouldn't stress about just putting one emitter in a container. I can always change out these emitters to something else if needed in the future, if I need to allow more water in. And I'm not wanting to overly wet these bulbs, but they definitely need to be moist. So I had one of y'all, I'm not sure who, suggested I pick up these pizza pans from the Dollar Tree to slide under my containers and to act as a catch for the water to allow the soil to better soak up. And I thought, well, that was just genius. These were $1.25 each. They're just going to go right under here. And then that will help have a little bit better moisture retainer, water retainer on these bags. Because that, I think it's going to be my biggest issue with the grow bags, especially at the hottest time of the year, is helping them stay moist. So let's go ahead and turn the water on and see if this works. And there we go. We're dripping water. So all the air is pushing out first, and then they'll all start dripping really well. And then now we've got the pizza pans underneath. But I am going to go ahead and water these in really, really well just to get started. And I think if these pizza pans aren't enough, I can go buy like the plastic catchers or pot plates to go underneath, the traditional ones that you would get from the nursery or something. Okay, so feeling really good to finally get these planted, and I'll do another round in a couple of weeks and probably potentially an additional round because I have some more grow bags for the other side of the yard. I'm going to be experimenting with grow bags. I think they're fun, they're functional, they're easy to move around. I just don't know if they're going to do well in my hot weather. So you guys let me know if you do use grow bags in really hot weather. I think that having the plates underneath is going to be a significant help And I might just have to get bigger plates. I don't know. We'll have to see, especially when we have like 60 days of triple degree temps. That's going to be rough. So we'll see how it goes. I can always add additional drip lines if I feel like it needs more water per container. It is going to be wild. It's going to be 8 to 10 weeks till I start seeing these. So maybe July we'll start seeing these. But I do have them in several other areas of the garden. So I'm really looking forward to harvesting some of those. And then these will be coming later on in the year. Once I've gone through all my gladiolus and they've all bloomed and died back, we'll talk about if I'm going to pull them all up and store them and restart this whole process in the spring instead of leaving them in these grow bags. If I leave them in these grow bags, everything's going to bloom at the same time next year, which is not my end goal. I don't need hundreds of gladiolus at one time. I don't need like 500 of them. I just want, 50, 75, 100, right around there where I can harvest and enjoy and pass to friends and family. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, seeing me harvest some beautiful blooms. I'm really going to start pumping that up, harvesting more blooms, and then also in the future, I'm going to be getting out and doing a really harsh into spring pruning on the front and side yard, which I think you guys will really enjoy. Y'all love it when I prune stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you enjoyed seeing me get started on these gladiolas, doing this experiment utilizing the grow bags, doing that quick little tip with the pizza pan underneath, and hooking it all up to drip. It's going to be a fun experiment to see how it does. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. Plus, I just really enjoy hearing from each of you guys on a daily basis. And be sure to check me out on my Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all my social media outlets. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.